Words like threaten and bully were used to describe what went on at committee meetings. Now, this is a committee that is supposed to decide whether complaints against police are founded, serious complaints. Joining me is Jim Kaese, chair-nominee of the Citizens Review Board of Police Practices. Now, Jim, let's quickly just review what this committee is supposed to do, its main goal.
The primary goal, when you boil it all down, is that we are an oversight board of City of San Diego police officers. And so we look at complaints made against police officers, and we do not do our own investigation. We're not authorized to do that. So we review investigations performed by the Internal Affairs Department of the police department.
And what power do you have if you find out that a police officer did something wrong?
Well, we would review the complaint. We would review the investigation performed by Internal Affairs, and then we can either agree or disagree with Internal Affairs findings. And one of the things that I think has been missed in this grand jury report is the frequency that we do actually disagree with Internal Affairs.
And we're going to talk more about that. So if you disagree, this then goes to the mayor. The mayor gets a report saying this Citizens Committee found that they don't agree with Internal Affairs. Is that what happens next?
True, if the bottom line is there's still disagreement, but a lot of times before it reaches that point, there's disagreement within Internal Affairs. So when we first receive a case, we can disagree with Internal Affairs, and a lot of times we can persuade Internal Affairs to end up agreeing with us.
So does the mayor ever, or has he ever in the past couple of years, ended up with a report on his desk saying your committee disagrees with Internal Affairs?
I don't think so. Because Internal Affairs, it's a collaborative process, and I think Internal Affairs respects the authority of the CRB. And so when the CRB, Citizens Review Board, when the citizens really take a strong line on our review and say, look, this is not right, they will change their finding.
Well, let's get into that then, because the grand jury report was pretty tough on your committee. I want to read just a section. It said, the report, every current and past board member interviewed told the grand jury that they had observed and experienced board member misbehavior. These alleged actions became a matter of routine: intimidate, threaten, bully, yell, and curse one another in both open and closed door sessions. How do you respond to that?
A couple of points. Number one, I think that the grand jury report is really vague and poorly written and incomplete.
That wasn't vague, though. That's not very vague.
But here's, but please, I don't know how many people from the current members of the board were interviewed. My guess is there were 2 or 3. There are 23 members on the board. Not one officer of the board was interviewed. I was not interviewed. I'm a former trial attorney. If I'm going to do an investigation for a complaint against an organization or a company, the first thing I'm going to do is talk to the people who are officers of that corporation. Not one of our officers was asked. I talked to the foreman of the grand jury. We had a conversation, about a half hour. Very professional, courteous, respectful discussion. And the one thing that he said to me is that the grand jury feels the CRB is doing a good job. I said, really? I said, that does not come across in the report. I said, are you comfortable if I tell our board members that? And he said, absolutely. So I think the way that this was written and the sensationalism that is going on is really taking this to a level that really wasn't intended by the grand jury even.
I want to go back to something you said about whether the mayor has ever received something on his desk from your committee that says there's disagreement. And because one of the things this grand jury report pointed out is when it talks about intimidation and bullying, it mentions that members of Internal Affairs, this is an arm of the police, are in these meetings. So is the job to negotiate back and forth, and I guess some people might view that as that there was some form of bullying so that you find a consensus, or is your job to say, hey, maybe there really is a problem and the mayor ought to know about it?
No, our job is to disagree, and if we feel that or agree or disagree, and if we feel that Internal Affairs has a wrong finding, we disagree and stick to our position. Now, I don't think we should anticipate that Internal Affairs just rolls over and says, okay, you're right. I mean, you have to substantiate your position. So at times there might be some passionate conversations and discussions on that. So no, absolutely. I go back to, I would say approximately 20% of the time, we have disagreements with Internal Affairs where we persuade Internal Affairs to change their findings.
But so they change their findings, just to clarify, the mayor doesn't get a report saying that you've disagreed with them. They just change what they've said.
Correct. Nor does the public find out that we disagreed with internal affairs. All the public sees is that we agreed with internal affairs. So they don't see this behind closed doors disagreement and discussion that we had with internal affairs.
Okay, well, we've got more on this issue on our website, kpbs.org. Jim Kaese, thanks for being here.
Thank you.